Good evening again, ladies and gentlemen, to another Extreme Trades Draft by Stephen Murray. I'll continue my trend of not opening any amazing bombs. My rare today is a Lux Cannon, which is pretty cool and it's nice to have with a proliferate source and all that sort of thing, but it's not really first pickable just because it is so slow if you don't get the gear assembled, and it gets destroyed just like any other artifact, so you can't put all your eggs in one basket. The other options are Glinthawk Idol, which is really good in the random Metalcraft decks. Silvark Replicas, good in sort of green splashing or green focused Metalcraft decks. Carrion Call if I really want to force poison, or Blight Mamba I guess, but I don't want to do those. I'm just gonna stick with the artifact and enchantment removal I like a lot, and it's a Silvark Replica. Next pack, continuing with the quite funny giant artifact things. It's Argentinium Armor. It does cost 12 to play and equip, so it's not really high on my list of priorities. I yeah, I have played it in one seal deck, so it was my literal only way to interact with my opponent. But not when we have so many other spells to take. Our options are Plague Stinger if I want to go poison, Revoke Existence if I want to continue my artifact enchantment removal plan, Torrent of Slag, and Acid Web Spider. These are all pretty solid, and really it just comes down to personal preference as to what sort of deck you want to draft. Um, I'm actually going to take Acid Web Spider today, since I like it a lot. It's similar to Torrent of Slag, except it's in green, so it helps support my Silvark Replica. I could have taken Plague Stinger, but I'm not that excited to go poison, especially since there were still a Carrion Call and a Tildrad Fall in the pack, which might encourage the people to my left to go poison as well. Here, there isn't a lot to choose from. It's either between Slice and Twain or Silvark Replica. Um, I think Slice and Twain's a little bit better because even though you can do random recursion things with Silvark Replica, I like the fact that this is an instant and you can surprise people with it sort of mid combat. It might be incorrect, but I think this is a much stronger green signal to if I was to pass it on than the Silvark Replica, which might just be a one-off. So already I seem to be I seem to be really hating on these artifact decks without sort of going for a Metalcraft or poison theme myself. Here, there's a couple of reasonable options. Carapace Forger is something that is quite good to have if you're this sort of green non-infect deck. But on the other hand, it's a lot easier to pick up artifacts. A lot easier to pick up non-artifacts that want Metalcraft than it is to get the relevant good artifacts. It's quite interesting that there's a Riddlesmith here. I'm actually my option is the New York Replica, I think, and I'm gonna take Riddlesmith just because it's a pretty good sign. And missing out on one of the 3-drop artifacts isn't the biggest deal, even though I was just talking about it being easier to get non-artifacts. You don't need loads of artifacts for Riddlesmith to be good. You only need to play one or two, and you get the nice looting effect. Here it's pretty well. I could obviously take Alpha Tyrannax, but there'll be there's replacements for him in Molder Beast, and those guys usually come down pretty late. So it's either Snapsail Glider or Morelk Replica. Um, I really like both cards. It's I'm gonna go with Snapshot Glider just now because if I get enough artifacts, I know I'm gonna be able to get that effect. Whereas I might not necessarily end up being able to play black for the effect from Orc Replica. And flying's a pretty good upside. Green is typically short in evasion, so it's nice to have that effect. Here there's not a lot to take. I could take like Galman's Warden or Soliton, which is well, or Disperse, of course. I could take Disperse, but I'm going to take Soliton. Um, in the off chance that I end up getting Heavy Arbalest, I'll be very happy. But there's nothing else here that's really that good. You can normally get Disperse later on, uh, and that effect is duplicated by the New York replicas. There's not much here again. Uh, it's between Plated Sea Strider and Withstand Death. Sea Strider's pretty good to have against some decks. Withstand Death's a pretty neat trick as well. But I'm gonna take the Sea Strider just now, in case I'm struggling for low drops later on. Oh well, here we have an Untamed Mite, which obviously at its best in Poison, not completely unplayable elsewhere. There's a Saberclaw Golem, which is pretty bad if you're not red, and Volstruck Replica, which is again worse if you're not red, but not total garbage. Bonds of Quicksilver is also an interesting one. It does answer some things that not a lot of other cards answer. I'm gonna actually I'm gonna go with Bonds here to try and seal off any blue cards going on the left. Oh hey, so the Blake Mamba and Carrying Call are all the way back around here, which is pretty interesting. So I like having Sertarks, but they're not good against every deck. It's definitely not worth taking this high when I have so few artifacts after pack 1. I'm gonna take this Blight Mama, even though, you know, it's my first poison guy, but if multiple poison guys are tabling like this, then it could be a case like in a previous draft where there just simply wasn't very many poison guys being opened. So I'm going to take this guy as well. I mean, at the very worst, they are like Tildrad Fallen is pretty good against proper Metalcraft decks, adding to my deck's theme of really hating artifacts. Blight Mamba is pretty good against certain beatdown decks. Even if I'm not trying to poison them out myself. The choice between Scrap Diver and Alpha Turnax, fairly close. I like Turnax here since it's just a little bit cheaper. Despite the fact it doesn't have evasion. So as you can see, my deck so far is a little bit unfocused. There wasn't really that much for me to take over the last couple of packs where I ended up taking a couple of poison guys. That's not a big deal. Here, there's not really too much of note. There's a Sky Eel Skull, which is pretty nice. There's another Soliton, which I don't need at the moment. However, there's a Silvermare, which is going to be my pick. If you end up playing some of the more expensive green guys like Alpha Turnax, you really want a couple of mirrors so you can get them out in a reasonable time frame. Virgin Reveal is a nice sideboard card, and Trigon Thought works in some decks, but it's a little bit slow for main deck purposes, and especially when there's a perfectly good mirror to take here. This pack is a choice between Life Eyelash, which typically amounts to being a fairly subpar Darksteel Axe, simply because Darksteel Axe just doesn't die. Whereas the amount of times where Livewire Lash has died and left me stuck where a Dux Deluxe wouldn't is is possibly more than standard, but it just never seems to survive. In their hand here is another Silvok replica, which I might as well add to my growing legion of disenchant effects. Another option, again, there's another Sky Eel School and a Thrumming Bird, but I don't really have many ways to take advantage of this. I have like a Blight Mamba, so if I get a poison counter on them, then Thrumming Bird can maybe go all the way. But I'm just going to take this as it deals with things. Well, we see another Plague Stinger, but I'm not too interested in taking that when there's a Tangle Angler here. I'm obviously not exactly heavy poison or anything, but Tangle Angler is just fine by itself as a slow assassin. If unfortunately this means that I kind of regret not having Livewire Lash, because Livewire Lash or any power enhancing spell is really good with Tangle Angler. Tangle Angler is about the only, other than Blight Mama for pure defensive purposes, Tangle Angler is pretty solid in non-infect decks, so obviously at its best when he contributes to the killing them plan. See, between Blight Mamba and Plague Stinger, blue seems to have dried up, even though there wasn't really anything good past to or left. Not that there's that many good cards to be taking in general in this format, but we're not seeing any, and some more poison guys are coming past. I can't guarantee, despite the fact that Plague Stinger is a lot better than Blight Mamba for just straight up poisoning them out. I can't promise that I'll be able to play the Plague Stinger, whereas I can play the Blight Mamba, because I'll definitely go in green no matter what. This pack is fairly interesting. We don't need another Alpha Tyrannex at the moment. Culling Days is quite interesting. It's pretty good against removal and all that sort of thing. However, I don't really like the way the deck is currently shaping up to being a sort of semi-poison control deck. I feel like the best option here is probably just to take the Darksteel Sentinel. Dias is good against other decks removal and everything, but I think I just want to make sure I have enough win conditions for whatever plan I end up going for. Here's another big bunch of another couple of poison guys at least. I already have a couple of Blight Mambas. Ichor Clover is a lot better on the offensive, so